Protecting Your Identity, read to you by Carol Brigham. People living in the United States have personal information that shows who they are. This personal information may be a Social Security number, birth certificate, U.S. citizenship certificate, driver's license, passport, state ID card, permanent resident card, or A number. People use these documents to prove who they are. They need to prove their identity at doctor's appointments and to open bank accounts, buy houses, start school, get jobs, file tax returns, or travel. It is important to keep this personal information safe. Criminals try to steal personal information. They can use a person's identity to get money or products illegally. It was easier to keep this information safe when people did most official business in person. People would show their documents when they needed to prove their identity. After they finished, they would put those documents in a safe place at home. This still happens when people are meeting face to face. But more and more today, people are doing business on their computers and smartphones. It is harder to protect personal information virtually. ID.me. ID.me is a company that helps people prove their identity online. A person signs up on the ID.me app on their phone. They enter their email and choose a password. Then they set up two-factor authentication. This means that ID.me sends a text message or calls the phone number the person entered. The message or phone call has a code for the person to put in the app. Next, the person uploads pictures of their ID and personal documents and answers some questions. The app takes a picture of the person to compare with their photo ID. Then, the person must enter their Social Security number. If the app says all the information matches, the person is registered. If the app says the information doesn't match, the person must have a video call with an ID.me staff person. Some healthcare organizations and government agencies use ID.me services. After a person is registered with ID.me, they can use the same email and password for these agencies. Then they do not have to prove their identity for each site. The beginning. ID.me was first called TroopSwap, and then TroopID. The company helped people in the military get services and discounts from companies. In 2013, the company changed their name to ID.me. The company wanted to work with more people. It started with first responders, nurses, and students. In 2019, ID.me signed a contract with the Department of Veterans Affairs, VA. This contract let veterans prove their identity to the VA on a video call. ID.me also started working with the state of California. ID.me collected the documents the Department of Motor Vehicles, DMV, needed to give people real IDs. In 2020, ID.me started working with the Social Security Administration, SSA. COVID-19. When COVID-19 started in 2020, businesses and schools closed. People lost their jobs. A lot of people filed for unemployment compensation. They could not go to the unemployment offices because the unemployment offices were closed, and unemployment workers were working from home. People tried to file for unemployment online, but there were a lot of problems. One problem was fraud. Scammers were stealing people's personal information and filing for unemployment in those people's names. The scammers were getting the money that belonged to the people who had lost their jobs. State unemployment agencies needed help. They needed some way for people to prove their identity online. 27 states hired ID.me to help. People in these states had to register with ID.me to get their unemployment money. In 2021, the IRS also hired ID.me. They wanted to make the IRS website safer. They wanted people using their website, irs.gov, to sign up with ID.me. They thought this would help people file their taxes and check on their accounts. The problems. ID.me sounds like a good tool. The company says it makes signing into healthcare and government websites easier. They say it stops scammers and fraud. But there are problems. ID.me uses a computer program to compare information. It matches pictures from government ID cards to the pictures of users that ID.me takes. This process is called facial recognition. Facial recognition software does not always work well. If someone's hair color, facial hair, or weight is different than the two pictures, facial recognition cannot always match the pictures. Studies have shown that facial recognition has trouble matching women and minorities. People had trouble getting the computer to match their photos. To solve the problem, they could show their documents to an ID.me staff person on a video call. But the company was very busy. It took hours to get a video call. It took some people days or weeks. They could not get their unemployment money because they could not prove their identity. Some people did not have a computer or smartphone. They had trouble signing up for ID.me. People who did not understand English well also had trouble. They needed to find someone to help them. Another problem was privacy. A lot of people did not want to send pictures of their personal information to ID.me. They did not think it was safe to give a company their social security number. They wanted another way to prove their identity. They said it took away their privacy. ID.me says that it doesn't give out information unless a person requests it. The company also says that people can delete their accounts when they want to. But there is a law that ID.me must store all information after an account is deleted. The company must keep it for 7.5 years. New changes. In early February, lawmakers in Washington, D.C. sent a letter to the IRS. They said taxpayers should not have to sign up with ID.me. They were worried about Americans' privacy. They said ID.me would have personal information for millions of Americans. They were worried that hackers could attack the ID.me website and app and steal this personal information. The lawmakers want to keep Americans safe from cyber attacks. On February 7, the IRS said they would stop using ID.me and it would find other ways for taxpayers to log in to irs.gov. The IRS wants to make sure that taxpayer information is safe too. When Easy English News went to press, 27 states were still using ID.me. For more information about Easy English News, or to subscribe to our digital or paper copies, visit our website, easyenglishnews.com.